Hey, what's going on, DDO players? Axel here. Today I want to do a DDO store buying guide. So this video is going to mainly be targeted towards the newer players who might be watching this, brand new players or players who haven't been playing that long, who don't know what's good to spend their money on and what is just a waste of money in the DDO store. So hopefully this video can help you out. Veterans might get a few things from this, but I'm going to try to keep it somewhat basic for newer players. So as you newer players may or may not know, DDO is a free-to-play game, so it's free to start, free to play. You can play through probably I would say 2/3 or so of the game without having to really spend any money. There's a lot of free content available, but at some point, if you really like the game, you'll probably want to just to get more adventure packs and things. And DDO, while they offer that free-to-play option, they, of course, want you to spend money because they're a business, so they, of course, need people to spend money and invest in the game so they can actually keep the game alive. And they do that by offering you, new pieces of content, new character classes, new races, enhancement trees, things like that you can buy optionally if you're really enjoying the game. So I'm going to go through each of the things here on the side and kind of everything in the store and kind of explain what's a good use of your money and what's not. The first thing I want to point out, though, is you can't spend straight money in the DDO store. You have to buy DDO points, so you have to exchange your real world money for DDO points. And you can do that by, you can buy the various bundles they offer in the store. Just keep in mind that they do have what they call double bonus point sales quite often. So that means you'll get more points for the amount of money you spend, and they have those sales quite often. So I would avoid buying points unless there's a sale going on, just because you'll get a lot more for your dollar. And the other thing to note is that the more you spend on these bundles, the more points you get per dollar spent. So if you buy the $200 bundle, it's a lot more point efficient in terms of points per dollar than the 700 point bundle. So just keep that in mind. It's better to make one bulk purchase than to spend $8 every month or something. You'll save a lot of money in the long run. Subscriptions tab here, you can also optionally buy a VIP subscription, and what that does is you get all kinds of perks, including access to pretty much every race and all the content that's not expansion content, and there's various other perks. I've done videos on VIP versus premium. I'll put it in the description below if you want to check that out and learn kind of more about if it's worth buying VIP for you. Redeem a code. This has a couple uses. You can buy point codes in the DDO marketplace, which is basically very similar to the DDO store, except it's on their website. Standing Stone Games' website, and you have to go there to buy certain things like expansions. You can also buy point codes, and if you buy a point code, you plug it in here. So let's go back here to the item shop. Now we'll just go ahead and get started through here. Sales, they do every once in a while, like every week or two, put different items on sale to incentivize you to buy it. So as you can see here, Deep Gnome is on sale right now for 75% off. So that's a really good deal. Pretty good deal for a race in terms of DDO standards. So that you just want to maybe check that every once in a while, and they do announce what goes on sale in the on their DDO's Twitter, and I think they also announce it maybe on the Chronicle, which is their weekly newsletter, and you'll often see it. Devs will post in the DDO.com forums. So there's a bunch of things. Oh, and the launcher when you start the game, if you're playing it on through Windows or Mac. I don't know if you'll see it on the launcher if you play it through Steam. Not totally sure. You might not. I don't play it through Steam, so I can't tell. But yeah, there's a bunch of places to see what's on sale, and if you keep an eye out for this and be patient, you can, like Deep Gnome, for example, like that's normally 1,300 points, and now it's only 323 points. So that's a really good deal. So if there's something you want, patience in this game, being patient really pays off. Okay, new to the DDO store, so things that are new, so that's self-explanatory. Okay, account. So account purchases, these are purchases that, as the name might say, these things that when you buy it, it will buy it for every character in your DDO account, basically. So the adventure packs, they have these broken up into the various levels: low, mid, high, epic. I own pretty much all the packs except for Thurnal, Restless Isles, but you go here and you buy the packs. I did do a video a while, actually it was a few years back, about specifically which packs to buy and which to not buy. I'm not going to go through that in this video just because it could be a video all upon itself. I think I'll probably do a updated version of that at some point, and if I do, I'll put it in the description below. So if you're watching this months after I've recorded it and published it on YouTube, then check that. There might be a link down there. Astral shards. So what astral shards are is DDO's currency, and basically there's two types of auction houses in the game. So where you basically can throw up loot that you find in quests, and other players can buy it. There's the astral shard house, and then there's the platinum house. So if you want to, you can buy astral shards and buy some things from the auction house, or there's various uses for it in game too. You don't have to buy it. You can get astral shards in game through a variety of ways, such as completing objectives in the monster manuals. You can do it by farming named loot or valuable loot in game and then selling it to other players. A lot of players make a lot of astral shards that way, so you don't have to buy it. But if there's something you really want, like in the auction house, and you don't have enough money, you can buy it. Kind of pay to win a little bit, but I would kind of encourage you to not buy these. You can earn this stuff in game, again, through farming loot and then selling it. But if you're on a time crunch and you want to just buy it, that's fine. Character slots. So there's a set number of character slots that you can use on your account. So I think when you're free to play, I'm not sure exactly, but I believe VIP can do up to 10 slots, possibly 5 or 10. I'm not sure exactly, but there is a slot limit, and if you want to increase that, you buy that there. So it's a good use of your money if you want a bunch of characters, but it's not something you have to buy if you only want to play one character. And again, keep in mind that as you move up to premium into VIP, you get more character slots included with that. And to become premium instead of free to play, all you have to do is buy anything in the store for any amount of money. Like you can buy one potion from the store, and that makes you premium. So it's worth it just to buy one thing in the store, because you can get premium, which does unlock more character slots for you. Okay, races and classes. If there's a race or class you want to buy, obviously you do that here, so good use of money. But keep in mind that there's a lot of races that you can unlock through playing, really, and some that you can unlock really quickly, like Drow Elf, for example. Don't ever buy Drow Elf because it's only 400 favor, I believe, and you can unlock that class really quickly. There's other classes that you may or may not want to buy, like Artificer and Favored Soul. Those classes you unlock, but you unlock them much later on. So just keep that in mind. Some races you can unlock, some you can't. If you have questions about a specific race and if you can unlock it, just go to the DDO wiki, ddowiki.com, and just look up the race, and it should be pretty easy to find that out. But yeah, good use of money, obviously. Shared bank. Okay, what shared bank is basically you have your regular bank in game. So you go to a bank in game, and you can put items in there. Shared bank gives you an additional bank account in game that you can access through all your characters on your account. So if you want to, say you have found a really cool great sword that you want your fighter to use, and maybe your wizard found the great sword, you can put it in your shared bank, and then you just log in on your fighter and you can pull it straight out of the bank. So that's nice. If you don't have shared bank, you still can kind of send things between characters, but you have to do it through the in-game mail system, which is a big pain in the butt. So it's just a convenience thing. If you're someone who really wants more storage, or you just want to be able to send gear between characters quickly and easily, it's nice to have. The shared bank platinum vault up top, that's kind of the same thing, except it's for platinum. So if you want to share platinum between characters, it's nice to do. You can send it through mail, but if you have tons and tons of platinum, you might want to do that. But I probably wouldn't bother with platinum vault, just because platinum is not really that valuable in game. Maybe if you're early starting out, you might want it, but you can still mail platinum to different characters if you need to, although there is a limit with the in-game mail system as to how much platinum you can send. So just keep that in mind, but not essential things, I don't think. And these are things also that you get for free if you go VIP. Okay, monster manual. So as you might know, there is a monster. It's kind of this intends to replicate the monster manual and pen and paper. So you buy monster manuals, you can read, basically insert descriptions of different enemies. There's different objectives you can try to complete, like slay, I don't know, 500 bats or something, and you'll get little rewards if you buy these monster manual and go up through those objectives. So it's kind of like buying kind of like a side quest of sorts, but it's not nearly as intensive as actual content packs. Enhancement trees. So there are some enhancement trees like Harper, Vistani, Falconry is another one that are independent enhancement trees that you can purchase separately. But keep in mind, a lot of these, I think actually all of these enhancement trees you can unlock in game, so you don't have to buy them. You'll have to buy the content that's associated with it that you have to run to unlock it, but a lot of these you don't have to actually buy. You can unlock them. So if you're interested in one particular enhancement tree, again, check the DDO.com, DDO wiki, DDOwiki.com, and just look up the enhancement tree and see how to unlock it and if that's feasible for you. Okay, Epic Destinies. You won't see anything here because I already own them, but these are basically enhancements for characters above level 20 and above. So below level 1 to 20, you have what are called we call heroic enhancements in game. But if you want to go past level 20, you do have to buy the Epic Destinies, and I would actually not recommend buying them in the store. The Epic Destinies are actually bundled with the Menace of the Underdark expansion, which is an awesome expansion. Maybe the best DDO's ever had, but definitely I would say top 2 in terms of expansions DDO's ever had, and it's an awesome piece of content. So, and it's going for really cheap these days. So I would actually encourage you to not buy these from the store. Buy the Menace of the Underdark expansion instead, because it's bundled with that. And I think if you buy the expansion on sale, it might even be as cheap or cheaper than buying the Epic Destiny separate. I'd have to check me on that, but it's really not much more. So just buy Menace of the Underdark. Don't buy it from the store. Veteran status lets you start characters at higher levels. So if you want to run a new character, instead of starting at level 1, if you buy veteran status, you can start at level 7, and they have different levels of veteran status. So if you like to start a lot of new characters and you don't want to run the lower level content, it's an option for you. Additional upgrades. You can buy an upgrade for 32-point build characters. So when you start a new character as a free-to-play, you have to start your character as a 28-point build. So that means you have 28 build points to spread throughout your character in terms of like your main stats. So strength, dexterity, constitution, charisma, wisdom, intelligence. But if you have 32-point build, you get to start your characters as 32 points. So you have an extra 4 points to spread out between your character when you start the character. So that's nice. Just keep in mind you don't have to buy this. You can also unlock 34-point build and 36-point build characters by TRing or doing true reincarnations, which is basically where you level a character to 20, you do a true reincarnation, you go all the way back to level 1, and you have to level back up again. And the reason you would want to go back to level 1 is because you unlock certain abilities like these. You get additional. The first time you do it, your 28-point character will jump to 34, so your character will be stronger. And you can also get things called past life feats, as well as additional incentives to reincarnate. It's one of the ways that DDO continuously gives players things to do is the reincarnation system. Is you can basically put your character all the way back to level 1, and in exchange for having to relevel your character, your character becomes stronger essentially. So that's what 32-point build can do for you. So I would probably recommend not buying it, just because you can get your characters up to 32-point builds, or actually get to 34-point builds already just by reincarnating one time. So it's up to you. If you run a lot of new characters, maybe it's worth it for you. But I would say for most people, just reincarnate if you have one character that you want to focus on. Hall of Heroes Passport. So the Hall of Heroes, there are 2 of them. One is in Eberron, one is in the Forgotten Realms in DDO. And it's just... this just lets you hop between Eberron and the Forgotten Realms easier, so it's just a convenience option. So you can log in basically from the character select screen to one of these Hall of Heroes. It's just a minor convenience thing. It's not essential to buy, I don't think. It just makes moving around in the world maybe a little bit easier, but there's a lot of other ways to do that with pretty easily with your guild ships and teleport spells, things like that. And there's even things you can get like the Evening Star Key, which you can get by running some of the Menace of the Underdark content, and that lets you teleport directly to Eberron, to Forgotten Realms from anywhere in Eberron. So it's not essential, but if you want it, it's a minor convenience thing. But I really wouldn't recommend buying it. Okay, let's get to the character screen here. Reincarnation. So iconic true heart of wood. There are different hearts that you have to buy to do different types of reincarnation, as I already described. That's DDO's system of basically giving players stuff to do and making your character stronger in exchange for having to level it again. There's different hearts you have to buy to do specific types of reincarnation. So if you're interested in reincarnation and you haven't done it before, definitely go to the DDO wiki and read about it a little bit, because it's a little bit complicated in terms of what heart you have to buy. So so iconic True Heart of Wood, you have to buy that if you're what's called an iconic class. Epic Heart of Wood is something you want to buy if you want to do epic reincarnation, which is going from basically level 30 to level 20. So it's a little bit less involved than a full reincarnation, but it gives its own different types of past life feats. Lesser Heart of Wood is something you'll buy if you just want to respec a character. So let's say that your character is at level 16 and you messed up, and maybe at level 12 you took the wrong feat, or you invested your points in the wrong stat, and you want to fix that. Then you can do you buy a lesser Heart of Wood, and basically this will let you re-level your character back up to level, in this case, level 16 again. So this is just to respec characters, and you won't actually have to go back to level 1. If you buy a lesser Heart of Wood, you go back to the exact same level you were. It just lets you re-pick your feats and skill point or action point investments, skill point investments, things like that. I'm sorry, not action point investments, but skill point investments and stat point investments. Okay, the +1, +3, +5s. These are different types of lesser hearts of wood. So the regular lesser heart of wood lets you redo your character's stats, but it doesn't let you change any character class levels. Let's say you were a level 20 fighter and you wanted to respec into like a level 18 fighter 2 monk, or 18 fighter or 17 fighter 3 monk or something. You would need to buy a +3 lesser heart of wood, because that +3 means you can change 3 different class levels. So if you don't want to change any class levels, you just buy this regular lesser heart. But if you want to buy you want to change different class levels up to 5, you would need to buy a +5 lesser heart of wood. So just keep that in mind. And they do occasionally come out with +20 lesser hearts of wood that lets you completely redo your levels. One thing I will say to keep in mind with this is, if you want to do a lesser reincarnation, you can only involve 3 classes in the process, and this is one thing that's kind of messes up a lot of players, I know. So let's say, for example, you're a level 17 cleric, 2 paladin, 1 fighter, and you wanted to change to I don't know, 17 cleric, 2 paladin, 1 wizard. You couldn't actually do that because you're involving 4 classes: cleric, paladin, wizard, and fighter. So just keep that in mind. You can't do that. You'd have to buy, in certain circumstances, you have to buy different amounts of lesser hearts, and when it gets to that point, you may as well just reincarnate. So just if you're in that kind of situation, just kind of read up about it a little bit, maybe post on the forums, or maybe look on the wiki regarding reincarnation to get more information about that. Let's see. Okay, let's move down to stat and XP tomes. Okay, next we have the Greater Tome of Learning and Lesser Tome of Learning. So these basically increase the amount of XP you get through completions. So in this case, the Greater Tome of Epic Learning increases XP for epic adventure completions, and Lesser Tome also increases XP for epic adventure completions, but not as much. I think this lesser one is 5%, and the greater one is 10%. So if you reincarnate a lot, these things might be worth buying. Okay, Supreme Tomes. This is I believe the single most expensive thing in the store. These things also can be earned through raids and other quests. Tomes are things in DDO that permanently increase your character's stats, so they're really, really powerful items, and they're rare drops in game, and because they're so powerful, they also make them extremely expensive in the store. So if you, so the most, this probably is the most expensive item in the store, the +7 Tome of Supreme ability. So that increases your stats by +7 for your every character stats. So strength, charisma, wisdom, intelligence, everything. It will increase it by +7. That seems like a lot, like a really, really big pay to win, but it's really not so much. I mean, you can get stats in this game upwards to like 200. I mean, not 200, like 100, and I think over 100. So it's not, it's a powerful item, but it's really not a super huge deal unless you're a class that really, really relies on DCs, like a wizard or something, like a DC wizard. But if you're like a fighter, it's not as big of a deal if you're not relying on DC abilities, if you're kind of a raw damage kind of character. So it just kind of depends on how much money you have, if you want to spend the money or not. But I would probably recommend not buying this because it is so expensive, and very shortly they're actually introducing a way to kind of earn these things more reliably by running raids. And to me, this is one of the things that's most fun to go after in game, where like I feel like if I bought this in store, I would be depriving myself of the experience of trying to get them in game, which is kind of one of the more fun things to try to adventure and go after at the end game. So it's up to you if you want to buy this. If you have a lot of money that you want to burn in this game and you want to spend it, but go for it. You're supporting the game, but it's really, really expensive. So just keep that in mind. They also have, other than Supreme Tomes, they have different tomes for different stats. So if you want to just increase wisdom, you can just buy a wisdom tome, and it's a lot cheaper than the Supreme Tome. Let's see, skill tomes, similar to stat tomes, except it's for skills. So like different stats, like spot. Say you want to increase your spot, you can buy a tome for that. And these tomes permanently increases a skill by whatever amount you choose. Tomes of Fate increases your fate points, which fate points are basically what points you used to unlock slots when you get above level 20 for your epic destinies. You can twist in what we call twisting in little different abilities from other enhancement trees that you're not using. So I don't think you really need to buy any of these. You can unlock like a lot of points in game. I've never felt the urge to buy one personally. Storage and bags. I think these are probably a really nice thing to buy. It just saves you a lot of, and now I actually own these. That's why you're not seeing them. Things won't show up in the store if I own them. But things like an inventory space bag, like a large collectibles bag, you can buy these things, and it saves you inventory slots. So instead of each individual collectible that you might collect, instead of it taking up one whole slot, this bag itself takes up one whole slot, and it carries within it up to 200 stacks of collectibles. So it's a really nice thing to keep your inventory organized and to save you a lot of inventory slots. You can also buy bank upgrades. So your bank in game will hold an extra page worth of items. The same with your inventory slots. See, I own all these, which is why you're not seeing them. But your character in game will have more inventory slots. So it's space. These are things that are nice to spend your points on, because it is so convenient to have more storage space. And storage space is something in game that is at a premium. The game does limit you a bit in terms of how much you can store. Okay, let's see. Gem bags, ingredient bags. So these are for different types of gems. You collect those from chests. It's basically you sell those just for platinum. It's really their only use. Ingredients, same kind of thing. In terms of inventory, these are just different types of items you'll pick up and buy these things, and you'll be able to store them. Quivers, you don't need to buy this unless you might want to consider buying it. Maybe if you're a ranger, or maybe a monk, or any kind of other, maybe a fighter, any kind of bow using character that has to carry around arrows. Although there are a lot of options in games, so I don't know. I don't run these type of characters. I don't know how much better these store ones are than quivers that you can find in game. So I would maybe look more into that on the wiki to see what's available out there if you're considering buying one of these. Although I feel like you probably wouldn't want to, just because again, there are a lot of good options in game, and a lot of times the quivers in game also have stats on them, like really useful stats on the items. So you probably don't want to buy any of these quivers. I would imagine. Augments are things you can add to items to make them a little bit more powerful, and this is again another bag to hold those. Alignment change. Okay, so your character, just as in pen and paper D&D in game, has its alignment. So it can be neutral good, lawful good, chaotic good, chaotic neutral, true neutral, whatever. There are no evil alignments in DDO, just to make you aware in case you're wondering and you're a new player. But this item lets you change your alignment. But if you really want to buy this and you really screwed up your character's build, you can buy this. But just remember that when you reincarnate, you can change your alignment. You can change everything about your character if you want to reincarnate. So just keep that in mind. You may want to just write it out if you screw up your alignment. Maybe just switch it next life if you want to reincarnate. Okay, feat and spell swap. Let's see. Okay, Blood of Dragons. Specific characters like sorcerers can only carry a certain number of spells at one time. So if you want to swap your spells, you need one of the items, although you can get them in game. See, name changes. If you want to change your character's name, do that. Epic Destiny tools. Let's see. These are. Let's see. Key of Destiny. I wouldn't recommend buying that. That just lets you unlock your Epic Destinies a little bit faster, but you can also do that in game. So it's up to you. I mean, if you really are hunched for time, maybe. Okay, next is healing and magic. A lot of the stuff you don't need to buy, like heal potions. I wouldn't buy this stuff. There's plenty of ways to heal yourself in game. Plenty of ways to you can buy. There's cure potions you can buy in game. I wouldn't buy these. I think it's kind of a waste of money. And this is this stuff. I really think is a waste of money. Like these heal rods. Don't buy this stuff. You can heal yourself in game in plenty of different ways. Yeah, really none of this stuff I would buy. Even this sovereign stuff, which is good. I mean, in terms of how much it can heal you, if you're relying on in-store items to heal your character, you're building your character wrong. Even if you're say a really new player and you just started a class like that, probably like a fighter or something that probably has more problems healing itself than any class. It's a lot cheaper to just spend some platinum in game on a hireling and have a cleric hireling or favorite soul hireling follow you around and heal you. It's way cheaper than buying this stuff in the store. So yeah, just don't buy this stuff. Let's see. Spell points. So this stuff, there are plenty of ways to get. There are spell point potions that drop in game. Occasionally, you might want to buy some spell point potions, although you really should try not to. But sometimes there's some really tough situations, especially when you get more towards like end game rating and stuff, where you're just out of spell points, and you might be tempted to buy some from the store. But again, there's also spell point potions you can get in game, and most of the time you shouldn't be running out of spell points anyways. They usually throughout most of the quests in the game, they are pretty generous with your rest areas, or what are called rest shrines in the game, where you can rest and get all your spell points back. So you shouldn't have to buy these too much. I would just try to make do with what drops in game. Rest and resurrection. This one I will say is probably a good one to buy every once in a while. Siberian Spirit Cake. This lets you raise yourself if you die. So every once in a while, if you're venturing, especially if you're soloing, you might just screw up and just not be paying attention and walk into a trap or something and die, and you're like 80% of the way through the quest and you don't want to start over. In that situation, it might make sense to buy one of these spirit cakes. Every once in a while, like rarely, very rarely, but every once in a while I'll buy one. But if you have party members with you, they should be able to raise you, so you shouldn't have to buy one of these to raise you. Also, if there are resurrection shrines nearby, you can get to those. There are also other items in game you can use to raise yourself that you can try to grind out, like the Curse Blade of Jack Jibbers, for example, lets you resurrect yourself to some extent, raises you as a ghost, but it's pretty good. The rest of the Eladrin, this is one that's kind of just like a shrine. You can use this and basically have a free shrine wherever you want it. This is kind of more the pay to win stuff. If you want to buy it every once in a while because you're in a tough situation, that's fine. But you should really be able to manage without this stuff on a regular basis. And there's some other variants of this stuff. But generally, this is stuff that'll help you, raise or let you, use a rest shrine. Again, stuff that's every once in a while, if you're in a really, really tough spot, maybe consider buying, but you should be able to manage, 99% of the time without that stuff. Attack spells, no, just don't don't buy this stuff. It's just not. It's a waste of money. If you're a caster, you'll have your own spells. This stuff, it's a scroll. It's just no. You don't buy this stuff. Buffs. A lot of these kind of buffs, these are different stat buffs. There are different potions and things you can buy in game. There are guild buffs. A lot of this stuff, see, like, for example, Scroll of Blur. You can find pretty commonly Wands of Blur that have 50 uses dropping in game. So I wouldn't buy this stuff. There's a lot of other ways in game of getting this stuff. So generally, no. I mean, if you're in a really, really tough spot and maybe you ran out of displacement clickies or something, maybe buy this, I guess. But it should be very, very rare purchase. You shouldn't really be buying this stuff. General buffs, this is more of the same kind of stuff. There's a lot of ways, like True Seeing, Greater Heroism. There's many, many ways you can get this stuff in game through item clickies, through potions, through other players casting spells on you from items with inherent bonuses to this stuff. You shouldn't really have to buy this stuff. You shouldn't need this stuff to progress through the game, especially at first, because you'll be running mostly stuff on normal. It shouldn't be so challenging that you will need this stuff. Resist potions. There's a lot of ways to get elemental resistances in game. You can get this stuff through different gear. You can get it through even different potions. You can get it through ship buffs for your guild. A lot of ways. You shouldn't really need this stuff, but it's an option. Again, if you're in a really, really tough situation and you just want that little extra, okay, you might need to turn it up to 11 by buying one of these potions, whatever. But you shouldn't really need them. Curatives. This is more stuff like you shouldn't need very much, but if you say you forget to bring your Death Ward item or whatever into the quest or whatever, some kind of restoration item to remove negative levels, maybe you dip in and spend 35 points on something like this to remove negative levels, but this is more like, oh crap stuff. You shouldn't be buying this regularly. Fast travel. We already went through this. There's different teleport options. Again, this is all kinds of stuff you can get in game. So Rod of Teleport, you can get use of teleport scrolls if you are certain classes like a rogue that has a good UMD score, or if you just take a lot of UMD in your character, you can buy teleport scrolls pretty cheaply. So I wouldn't be buying that stuff. What else? Yeah, this is more stuff you don't really need. Bracelet of Friends is kind of cool. This stuff, this will bring a friend to you. So this might be useful if you're if you're a more experienced player and you're playing with a brand new player and they have no idea how to get to the quest. You can get one of these Bracelet of Friends and use it, and it will bring your friend to you. So that's kind of cool. I mean, maybe that's worth buying if you've got a brand new player and you don't want to kind of instruct him how to get to place. So that's kind of nice. Food items, savory turkey, tasty hams. You don't need this stuff. It's just healing stuff. You don't need it. There's plenty of ways to heal yourself in game. And again, if you're kind of relying on tasty hams and savory turkeys to heal you, I mean, you're not building your character right. Undead healing, same stuff. So if you're a Pale Master Wizard or something, this is how you heal with that. Although not good use of your money. Okay, XP boost. This is kind of more the really expensive items. This is probably the most pay to win thing in the store. Is the heroic, the autos boxes. There's epic and heroic. Basically, you buy these and it jumps your character from like, I've never bought one before, so I'm not sure exactly, but I know it levels you. it basically levels your character for you. Not all the way, but it jumps you from, it gives you basically a big packet of HP. It gives you 2 million XP, and it gives you a bunch of other items with it, like five experience potions, 5 Slayer count boosts, Jewels of Fortune, Spirit Cakes. It gives you a bunch of stuff, but the main reason people buy these things is for the XP. It gives you basically 2 million XP. So this is kind of a pay to win item. So if you're running, if you have a lot of extra money and you wanted to run like 3 Wizard Pass lives, but you hate playing Wizard, you can buy like 3 of these boxes and basically not have to level that character. Like it'll level it for you. So it's, and not all the way, but it will bump you most of the way. So, if you want to buy it, okay. I've never bought one before. It's not something you have to buy, but if you really have tons of money to throw around, you really love this game, and you want to kind of make a donation, then okay, but you don't need to buy it. This other stuff you might want to buy possibly if you're leveling. I know a lot of these elixirs, there's experience elixirs of various, the more you spend, the more of a bonus you get. But basically, these give you a set percentage bonus to your XP for a certain number of hours. So this one for 1750, you can get 10 greater potions. So each greater potions give you for 3 hours a 20% bonus to your XP. So if you're reincarnating a lot and want a little boost, it's an option. You can also pick these things up in game through various means. So they're not required. It's just if you want to level a little bit faster. So there's more bunch of different kinds. Sovereign elixirs up to 50% for 6 hours. A lot of different kinds. The Tomes of Learning we've already talked about. Jewels of Fortune. Okay, Jewels of Fortune increase the level bonus of treasure chests, but I do not believe these boost your chances of getting named items. So they're kind of not the best items. The Jewels of Fortune. That's why they're pretty cheap. If you want better random loot, okay. But I think most people who are going for named items, which these don't affect, won't really care about it, and that's usually what people want out of their chests. So, lesser treasure hunters elixirs. I believe these ones do actually affect your named item chances. So, if you want better chances of turning stuff out of chests, you can buy these. But again, it's not required. Slayer boosts. So there's certain areas in the game where there are Slayer areas. So public adventure areas, not public, but they're private adventure areas. So places like Evening Star Forest, Evening Star Forest, or the Stormhorns Mountains, or just there's various adventure areas throughout the game. These are just big open areas that you just go and you kill monsters, and once you meet thresholds, so after you kill like 50 monsters, you'll get a chunk of XP. And what these potions do is they increase how much XP you're getting from each of those chunks. I'm sorry, they don't increase the XP from each of the chunks. They increase the amount of kills you get for each. So if you have to get to 50 kills, this gives this greater Slayer boost gives you 150% bonus to Slayer areas kill counts. So that means every time you kill a creature, you get a bonus 1.5 number of kills towards that count. So it just lets you hit those experience thresholds faster. Your regular experience elixirs are what increase the amount of XP you're getting from those various chunks. So when you hit 50 kills, your experience elixir will boost the XP, whereas these potions will help you get to those tiers faster. Hope I explained that clearly. I know I kind of screwed that up a little bit. Okay, guild renown elixirs. So in game, your guild that you join, guilds increase. There's various guild levels, and there's incentives to level your guild because at certain levels you can buy better things. So these potions just increase the amount of guild renown, which is basically guild XP you get from completing things. And you get guild XP, which is renown from all sorts of things, such as like completing quests, but generally just doing stuff in game. Crafting, if you're really into crafting and want to level your character as a crafter, these are XP potions for this. So it's a completely optional part of the game. I've never played around with it much, but if you're really into crafting and you want to level your crafter faster, you can buy these. But the experience potions and all, they're things that I know a lot of players really like and spend money on. It's just one of those things where you have to judge how much time you have versus how much money and how much money you're willing to put in. So it's a grind versus pay mechanic. So you can pay to level faster or not pay if you want to just enjoy the game. You're not really worried about how quickly you're advancing. Okay, quest tools. Want to detect secret doors. You don't need this. You can detect secret doors through the search skill. You're going to need certain amounts, also like true seeing. You're going to need certain amounts of skills to read certain doors. So I don't know. I guess I'm not really sure what the DC on this is, but you can use it to unlock doors, I guess. But you shouldn't really buy this. Okay, legendary bypass timers. There's regular bypass timers and legendary bypass timers. For raids in this game, when you complete a raid, you have to wait 3 days, essentially 3 days before you can complete it again. There's a standard 3-day timer. They only let you run raids once every 3 days. And if you buy one of these timers, you can skip that you can run it again immediately. I know it's a really popular item. People buy them every once in a while. So like they run a raid and then maybe the next day someone in their guild wants to run it and they want to join them, you can buy one of these to skip your timer. Okay, Big B's guiding hands. These things I think they're not worth buying at all. I mean, in certain situations, like maybe like where you want to mark things on the map, maybe like the Curse of Strahd raid or something, I've seen people use them. But generally, these are just things that will make a big like X on your map to help you. Just if you've already been to an area and maybe you're running a big dungeon that you've just ran for the first time and you want to mark an area that you've already been there, you can use one of these hands and it will kind of put a little mark on the map that you've been there. So it's, if you want to buy it, okay, but it's just purely optional and you don't need to buy it. It's just kind of those things that's just kind of thing to mess around with, and they're priced fairly cheap for that reason. Summon and repair shop, you should never use that. You can repair your items for really cheap at pretty much any store in game. Let's see. Secret door, divining rod. I'm not even sure what that is. Oh, find secret doors. You don't need that. Repair kit, again, you can repair everything. These are just wastes of money. You can repair everything at stores for really cheap in game. Item restore oil completely restores any one permanently damaged item. I mean, maybe if there's an item that you really, really like, that's been permanently damaged, you can repair it, but there's ways to prevent permanent damage in game through different altar rituals, which if you want to look more into that, you can read into the DDO wiki about that. Raid timer bypass, these are the same as a legendary raid timer bypass, except these are for your non-legendary raids. So and you'll know this is if the raid, when you go to run it, has a legendary difficulty, then it's a legendary raid. If it doesn't, and it only has an epic difficulty or only a heroic difficulty, then it's not a legendary raid, and you would use this raid timer bypass. Bells of opening, these opens a locked door or chest pretty much automatically. So if you're not a rogue and you want to unlock a chest, you can use these. There's not too many chests throughout the game that you need to unlock like this. You really don't need them. I wouldn't recommend buying them. Elite difficulty unlock. So, okay. When you play the game, initially, at least in heroic content, there are 3 different difficulty. Well, there's 4 now. There's normal, hard, elite, and reaper. And when you first start out, as a new character, you can only run normal, and you cannot run hard until you've completed the dungeon on normal, and you cannot run elite until you've completed the dungeon on hard. But with this, you can unlock elite immediately without having to complete normal or hard. Just be aware, you can also unlock this feature for free by TRing. So if you TR your character once, you can now unlock every dungeon, not only in normal, but hard first time. And if you've TR'd twice, you can unlock any dungeon in any difficulty. So keep that in mind. If you're a first life character, okay, these things are super cheap and you want to run something elite, okay, but keep in mind, you're probably better off just TRing your character and then you'll be able to do this for free. Or Also, if you just party with someone else who can unlock stuff on Elite, you don't have to spend the money to do this. You can just have them unlock the dungeon for you, and they can even enter the dungeon in Recall, and you can just run it yourself on Elite. So you don't need to buy these really. Healers kits, repair kits, these are complete wastes of money. This used to be a way to kind of heal characters in game, but it's completely not used at all anymore, so don't buy those. Thieves tools, these drop like crazy in game everywhere, so you don't need to buy these. Dude, please don't buy them from the store. They're commonly dropped from the game. Secret door, divining rod, we've already talked about that, and guiding hands we've already talked about. Okay. Augments. Okay, so augments are little items. So gear throughout the game will have different slots, like blue slots or green slots, and you add augments to those just to kind of design your equipment how you want it. So you can have augments for different things that add, like, for example, these have constitution. You can add constitution or dexterity to items or physical resistance. All this stuff this stuff drops in game, so I wouldn't recommend buying it from the store. This stuff you can probably buy off the auction house or just find in game. So I wouldn't recommend buying this stuff. And honestly, the best augments you're gonna find in game. So I wouldn't recommend buying this stuff. Okay, augment tools. Okay, jeweler's toolkits. Jeweler's toolkits you have to use to unslot augments from items, so you might have to buy it from time to time if you want to respec your character. Sentience toolkit, remove sentient gems from weapons. You can also do this in game by buying sentient destroyers, but the only other problem with that is it destroys your filigree instead of unslotting it. So just keep that in mind. Just the paid option is a little bit better than the free option. Okay, crafting success boosters. So it increases your chance to successfully craft items. If you want to buy that, okay, but not necessary. Essences and more. This stuff is kind of just like the collectible crate gives you various collectibles, but you don't need to buy that. Collectibles, part of the fun of collectibles is actually collecting them in games, and these give you random collectibles, so you can't actually get the ones you want. So I don't really see why you would buy this. Let's see. The rest of this stuff, like Sprees, Dragon Shard Fragments, these things drop in game, so I wouldn't buy them from the store. They drop really commonly. What else? This is some more crafting stuff. This stuff, again, more collectible stuff. So, same thing applies. You don't need this stuff. Yeah, this stuff, you don't need any of that stuff. Trap parts. Please don't buy trap parts. Traps are just not very powerful in this game, and you can get trap parts as your rogue disables traps in game, so you don't need this stuff. What else? This stuff we've already talked about. Shroud ingredients. Okay, don't buy this. Like, this stuff you can get by running the raid, and I think and you also note that the best ingredients, the really rare ingredients that you can only find in the raid, is not sold in the store. So don't buy this stuff in the store. Just run the raid. A lot of these, like these small and medium ingredients, are pretty common, and people have a lot of extras. So there's even people that will probably pass you their ingredients while you're running the raid. And the raid this refers to as the Shroud raid in Meridia. So don't buy this stuff. Just run the raid. What else? Ammo. Oh, we've already talked about this stuff, but please don't buy arrows from the store. Guys, arrows are so common in game. You don't need to waste your money on that. Same with bolts, arrows. Don't buy any of this stuff. Sun flasks, don't buy that stuff. You can get that stuff in game for really, really, really cheap. There's vendors that will sell big stacks of it for you for almost nothing. Wooden tower, like this stuff, this is the worst stuff in the store right here. The armor, do not buy this stuff. This is just pure newbie trap stuff. Like, I don't know why this is in the store, to be honest, because stuff like +1 leather armor, like you get that from running. You can get that from running any quest or going to any vendor. I mean, this is really bad trash loot that is super, super, super common in game. You don't need to buy this stuff at all. Don't just please don't buy this stuff. Please just don't buy this stuff. It's so bad. I don't know why it's in the store. It's just a pure new player trap. Like it's no. Spell components. Again, this stuff you don't need to buy. This is another new player trap. This stuff is super cheap and you can get it from all kinds of different vendors in game. So please do not buy this stuff. Let me see. Omnispell Stone's a little bit different because I think what this does is it can serve as any spell component. Yeah, but I would not still, like, you don't need that stuff. Like, you don't need to use an Omnispell Stone. You don't need to be buying it from the store. Like, you can get the spell components you need really cheap throughout the game. So just don't buy it. Weapons, this is also crazy new player trap stuff. Don't buy this stuff. Do not buy this stuff. This is all just really, really, really weak weapons. I have no idea why it's sold in the store. It's complete new player trap, and I can't believe they're charging like this much, like +5 sickle for 250. Like, no, do not buy this stuff. None of this stuff. Martial, exotic, do not buy any of this stuff. Just please don't buy this stuff. Challenge tools. Okay, challenge tokens. Okay, if you don't, there's certain what are called challenge packs in DDO. So challenges, you can either buy access to the challenges by actually buying the content, or you can run them by using challenge tokens, and you actually get 1 free challenge token per day in game for free. So you don't really need to buy tokens because, again, if you want to, you can just go by and collect your tokens. They don't disappear each day. So if you want to maybe 1 week collect like 7 tokens, 1 for each day, you can then run 7 challenges. And again, those tokens do not disappear. So you don't need to be buying challenge tokens. And honestly, I would just buy the challenge pack. If you're considering buying a bunch of tokens, just buy the pack, because then you have unlimited access. This stuff you don't need to buy. This stuff just kind of helps you in game, like in certain quests. What else? Yeah, this is all stuff you don't need to buy. This is stuff that's going to help you out in different challenges. Okay, cosmetic and pets. This stuff is kind of fun to spend your money on. So there's various cosmetics for each any different item here. So you can check out these items. If you want some cool cosmetics, you can buy these. Keep in mind there's also, let me see if I can find it. There's a cosmetic use item called the Mirror of Glamoring, and I'm just going to search for it here. If you're considering buying a cosmetic, it might be better to buy Mirror of Glamoring. What this lets you do is the Mirror of Glamoring lets you turn any item in game into a cosmetic, basically. So if you pick up a random set of armor that has really bad stats on it, but you really like the look of it, you can use a Mirror of Glamoring to take the look of that armor and use it, make it into a cosmetic item, basically. So you can apply that look to any armor in game. So if you want to equip maybe an armor that has much better stats on it, but you don't like the look, you can take the look from the other armor and apply it. So and that can be moved to be used on any armor as much as you want. So mirrors are a really, really cool item. It's a really good place to spend your points on if you want to customize your character. I buy these a lot. I really like customizing my characters. I wouldn't say a lot, actually, but I bought probably, like, in the past, I maybe bought like 6 or 7 of them throughout my several years playing here, just to customize different things. But if you want specific cosmetics, that's what these things are. These are more specifically designed cosmetics, and they have all kinds of different cosmetic options, like glowing eyes and helmets and just all kinds of stuff. Weird pirate hats. There's all kinds of options. So, I mean, I think that's a really cool thing. And one of the things I like seeing DDO make money on is this cosmetics, because it's fun. It's a part of DDO. It's part of Dungeons and Dragons culture. Cosmetics are cool and important, and it's really fun to design your character the way you want to design them. Hair is the same thing, so you can change your character's hair color, or eye color, or hairstyle. You can change it back to a different style. There's another thing here called Creature Companion. So it's like a little cosmetic creature that'll follow you around, like a little in-game pet. It doesn't do anything in terms of like helping you fight or heal you or anything. It's just purely cosmetic creature that'll follow you around. There's all different kinds of options. So tricks, you can teach your cosmetic character or your cosmetic pet little tricks. It'll do little they're like basically like emotes. It'll do like a little, it'll do a little dance or whatever, or fetch a ball, just little cute things like that. Gear, this is more stuff. Basically, these are cosmetics for your cosmetic pet. Guild and hirelings, so these are ways to upgrade your guild ship. So airship colors, that's just cosmetic, obviously, but these are different things. If you're into a guild, maybe buy these. But these things you will want to buy these if you have a guild, because these can apply powerful guild buffs. So beacons and like, I mean, not beacons, but like augments and things and shrines and all that stuff. You'll want to look through here and buy what you think is worth buying. Hirelings, I wouldn't buy any of these from the store, because you can get these in game for pretty cheap. So don't buy hirelings from the store. You can get cleric hirelings as much as you want, in game, and they're good enough. I think the best reason most people will buy a hireling is for healing, like buy cleric hireling. And if you want to do that, plenty of options in game. I mean, some of them that you can buy in the store are better, like when you get to gold seal hirelings, but you really just stick to your in-game ones. You don't need to buy these. Let's see, seasonal items. I think hireling folders, that's just storage for hirelings. These are just seasonal stuff. Is just usually like event based things you can buy. Right now, mimic bait, there's a mimic hunt going on, so you can buy mimic bait too. Actually, I think the mimic hunt ended a couple of days ago, but or last week, I think. But you can buy seasonal related things like mimic bait, makes mimics appear more often. Bundled offers, sometimes there's stuff there, sometimes not. But I think I've covered everything, guys. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to comment below, or any comments or anything. Disagree with anything I've said, please comment below. But yeah, I hope this video helps out some of you newer players, just to get a better general grasp of what there is to buy and what you should buy and shouldn't buy. So yeah, I hope the video helped you out. If it did, please leave a comment, let me know. And yeah, that's it, guys. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Take care.